Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Jurassic Park. Today, I actually have no idea which things we are going to be finishing up, but I guess we'll see, so let's get straight into it. I do know is I'm going to start with the launch area. I want to build like a sort of cage around this, so let's begin here at the front. By the way, I know we've got new stuff, some new glass panels and some other things, but we'll use those whenever we need to use them. This happens to be a brand new piece that we can use perfectly. It does have to be a bit lower though, just over there. The only unfortunate thing is, we can fix that later. Now, the idea for this is to kind of make those raptor cages. Seems like a pretty cool little Easter egg. And well, these pieces appear to be pretty useful for that. We have a ton of metal items, luckily, so we can just kind of build that up from those. These possibly also work out pretty well. Yes. I mean, it doesn't look anything like what it's supposed to be, but it does look cool. Okay, wow. These new pieces appear to be pretty freaking useful, actually. I'll even try to put in the actual gate that would go up and down to let the raptors in, or in this case, the coaster. And on top, some of these handles, just like the example. And then a bunch of this stuff, and we should be pretty close. Again, it's not super accurate, but it's about the vibe. And that, we definitely got down. Now, I think I can simply go and grab this, copy it over, and just kind of extend the whole thing however far we want, really. Also, I know this is kind of a rip-off of Velocicoaster, but I mean, come on, there's not really that much else you can do for this. It simply makes sense. There's a reason they did it. It's cool as hell. I suppose we should also copy the supports like that, and then we just have a really cool looking thing. Now, what this does need is a floor, because right now it's open at the bottom. So we just close that up using some wool pieces. Look. That is pretty sweet. I do not understand. Every time I open this, which I just can't do, the queue fills up, and then 5 minutes later, the staff member leaves, and then the whole queue empties again. And why does it only happen here and not there? I did nothing different. It's... Anyway, well, now what?
12 seconds later.
Guys, I figured out why it kept stopping. Look, at first, whenever they arrived at these pieces, this guy would be kind of dragged in, like so, but the next one was right behind it and would crash into it, and then it closes. So, that's what happened, and I just fixed it by changing the interval to like 30 seconds, so every time it just waits for a bit until it goes. Which I can't believe I didn't think of that. I can't believe I forgot about that. But I guess it's fixed now, so all good. Moving on. I am, however, pretty curious what this looks like from inside the coaster. Look. Now that I really do like. Looks pretty cool. And then just wait for a minute and then you launch. Yep, that is pretty sweet. I think I said this in a previous episode as well, but first we need to build all the actual structures and buildings and elements, and then fill the rest up with nature. I don't want to do too much nature today because I might actually do some of that off screen. It's the same stuff over and over. But we do gotta make sure all the structures are done, and I'm thinking we can do something cool with this as well. We could, of course, make this like the bird cage from the third movie. That is definitely worth trying, isn't it? It's gonna be quite complicated, but I think we should make it above the ground and then later just shove it straight on to the spot. Again, I think this is going to be pretty complicated, and I think we should build it in the sky and then later shove it straight onto the spot it needs to go on. That wasn't much better. You get the point. So let me just try and build that. The crazy thing is, this would have been super easy in Theme Park Tycoon 2. Except now I'm not really sure how to do that right now. This is actually gonna take forever. I suppose there's a beautiful big circle. For the life of me, I couldn't understand why it would pick that as an anchor point. But at least we can spin it around its vertical axis, meaning we can do stuff like that, which is kind of what we need.
12 seconds.
Guys, you know what? Never mind. Never mind. This is where I draw the line, believe it or not. I swear to the Lord Almighty, that is not going to happen. We're gonna have to think of something else, because I would happily do that in Theme Park Tycoon 2, but clearly this game is not made for it, so I'm not even gonna try. That leaves the question, then what? I'm not gonna lie here. I don't really know what to do. I'm getting a bit bored. Oh, wait a minute. The station, of course. Well, let's do that instead. What would make sense to me is kind of making it the same style. Yeah, that's very annoying as well. I was gonna say to make this kind of the same style as the visitor center, so let's try that. That means we need the same white kind of walls. Why does my voice sound so raspy all of a sudden? Anyway, these walls. Wow, it's really bad. Ignore that, I guess. I'm gonna be sounding like this for the rest of this video. Here you go. Ooh, and maybe on this side is gonna be nice and open, like so. Not sure that's very Jurassic Park-ish, but we'll see later on. Why don't we even just grab this entire little tower here and just kind of use that somewhere here? And we just delete these two. And there you go. I do think that should probably be a tad lower. Kind of like this, maybe? Yes, much better. The roof speaks for itself. Just, again, the straw. Just to make sure it's all nice and consistent. Oh, and we can even do the double roof. And then in between add that kind of stuff. And I just noticed we can just do that on grid, which is very convenient. And I should be able to just grab this entire roof and copy it to the other side. Like so. There you go. And then at the very top, finishing it off with these bad boys. Actually, that looks a bit stupid. Never mind. We'll just do this instead. Nice and basic, but it works. There you go. Yeah, that's a lot cleaner for sure. This, though, this is not gonna work. Looks a bit weird. I guess let's just go with the regular kind of all elements. And then we can somehow spice that up with something else. And for once, let's also kind of fix the interior quickly by adding some ceiling like that. Even some of these cross supports on the sides. And the only thing that really still bothers me are these entrances. That is insanely bland. Let's fix it. Maybe we can just steal this piece we used for the entrance of the visitor center, because that does look pretty cool. And it also just so happens to be the exact same width. So that's great. There you go. That's definitely better already. Same thing on the other side then, like that. And then, it's definitely a good start. It doesn't really need to be that detailed from the outside because mostly there's just going to be trees around it. Similarly to this, you don't see much of the walls, especially this tower here. So I think it's actually pretty much just fine. Probably should put some fences in between these gates, however, to make sure people don't trespass. There you go. That's definitely quite nice. Finally, I think we can top that off with a bunch of these ceiling lights there. Even though they don't give too much light, it does look cool, I guess. And really spicing up this interior kind of stuff, I will not do in a video. Seems pretty boring. It's the small details anyway. So for now, this is pretty much just fine. That isn't the only thing I wanted to do today, however, because I have some more ideas. A few people, I think, mentioned this already. In here, we should definitely have some water. Literally makes the most sense imaginable. So let's go and put that in. Here you go. That looks really nice. And now to make that a bit cooler even is maybe using this scenery brush and put some tropical rocks in here. I rarely use this, but here you go. Just adds some life to that. I'm not sure if that's really as great as I had hoped, but I guess it does add some extra bit of detail that we do need. There you go. Okay, I don't really use this tool that often, but sometimes it definitely can come in handy, especially when you don't want to put too much effort in things. There you go. So now the launch just goes through some water with a bunch of rocks. Really nice. Now the lights I just placed inside of that station building made me think we probably need those inside here as well. However, this time probably something a bit more Jurassic Park looking. Here you go. I'm thinking these can work. And also you might have noticed I removed the catwalk from here because that looked a bit weird. So now it's just the track in there. That looks quite nice. Which is something I say a little bit too often, I think. But here we are. Something to make this feel a little bit more like Jurassic Park is adding some of those giant fences. And with that, we can kind of create areas wherein dinosaurs would be roaming around. So let's just go here and make one single segment first. We need the base, of course, and this is going to be the Tyrannosaurus Rex fence design. At least that is the idea. Don't walk through my fence. I've been using a bunch of these new pieces today. They're actually really nice. Here, that is a pretty good start. And here we have the vertical pieces. See, now this is the thing that is very satisfying to build. And on the top of every single pole we have that cool detail, the light and all that sort of stuff. And the light is going to be the hardest part. If this didn't have the base, it would have been perfect. But it does have the base. Wait a minute. This could work as well. Well, isn't that a bit too big? No, actually that works. And the light itself has to be kind of orange, like so. There you go. And place it down. That's not bad, although it doesn't really look like light, but it does appear like that's the closest thing to it. So, well, it's gonna have to do. These fences have a bunch of cables, so let's add, well, the cables. It's all pretty straightforward, guys. Now, that right there is super satisfying. Look at that. That somehow is actually crazy accurate. Wow. The only thing is the pole in the middle should not have all the fancy stuff on top. In fact, it should even be a bit thinner as well. There you go. And then, well, that is the first section of a fence. And the plan is to then grab only half of that, or part of that, and we should be able to just... What? What is it? What? Why? What? Why would it not do... Well, that is going to make it take 20 million times longer, but the idea is that we can then do this. Just kind of copy these around like that. Let's see. I'll grab this and we'll begin somewhere here. Let's say this is going to be the entrance. And with this ride, you just kind of enter it. So let's begin here. Hello? So then, well, let me just place down these fences one by one. Absolutely great. Let's go for it. Just like this. Is it ideal? No. But does it work? Yes. And that, I guess, is what it's all about. Yeah, this right here is the only problem. It cannot go up and down. So unfortunately, we have to kind of adjust the landscape to this fence in some areas. But actually, that is pretty much just fine, isn't it? It just stops right when it arrives at the rock. Pretty good. Now, don't you worry about this. I'll fix it later. First, let's just take care of the outline. And here you go. That is the first enclosure. I know it looks really weird like this, but just wait for it, because I really think the nature is gonna fix all of that. Besides, you're technically never gonna see it from above because you're a visitor. We probably should add some trees and rocks and vegetation, right? Because it's just starting to hurt my eyes. This looks really weird. The only question is where and how. I do have one idea. Let's get into it. I've been meaning to properly try this to make your own brush. We'll call this Ferns. And then let's see, we're gonna go to ferns and bushes and basically just select every single one that we want to include in this brush. The only unfortunate thing is these king ferns are ginormous. But I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Save changes. Now, if I select that brush, we can see size, intensity, whatever. And then paint. Whoa! See, that's what I was afraid of. Oh, that is not so good at all. Hold on. Yeah, no, those are way too big. Maybe let's just not include the... Wait! Maximum scale. Yes! Oh, that's great! We'll just make all the king ferns small, and then... That is incredible. Look, let's try it out. Just... There you go! Hell yeah, dude! That's... Wow. Okay, okay. Very good that I decided to try this out, because... This is gonna save a lot of time. The only not so great thing is it doesn't get too close to the path, which is annoying because I would like to do that. But I suppose we're gonna have to do that manually, which is fine, I guess. Well, let's do a bunch of this stuff in between these areas. That's gonna need some work. Let's make it a bit smaller instead. Here you go. I wish you could make the density even more intense, where they just spawn inside of each other. That'd be great, but I guess that's not how that works. But well, it's good to know that works. I don't want to do that with trees because I really want to place those down wherever I want to place them down. But really, let's get into that. What I think is important that we first have all the rocks, because of course that's going to determine where the plants are going to be. Let's see, for example, this I think could be a cool place for a big rock. And then just like that, we'll spice up the whole landscape. Also, over here, a bunch of them to make sure this looks a bit more natural and rocky. But all of that should be pretty easy. Here you go. Who would have thought that in this game as well, rocks are still my favorite thing. It is insane. Anyway, let's put some more of these ferns on these edges too. Just gotta really fill all of that up and make it look as lush as possible. And the further we go, the more exotic plants we can start to add, such as these. I love those. And the so-called Swiss cheese plant large. Absolutely fantastic. This is definitely going to give you an idea of what all of this could end up looking like. Oh! Why did I do that? Then now come the big boys, the palm trees. Let me just put a few big ones down right over... Actually, maybe we should keep this a bit open and really just add these to the sides. Does have to be enough space for the coaster to pass through. There you go. Beautiful. And some of these bigger trees. I mean, that is very big. Maybe a bit smaller like this to really create that thick forest effect. After quite a long time of looking mid as hell, all of this is finally starting to come together into a nice cohesive looking landscape. Is this not lit? That is literally the only word I have for this. I mean, look at that. So you come in here and you go through this very lush looking, amazing. And what I do know is this is gonna take a while, so I'll be doing this for a bit and possibly be right back with you. Okay, so now it appears I have finished everything inside this enclosure kind of area. So this cave looks pretty sleek. We've got all these plants, all these ferns, and it is just looking pretty good. On the other side, there is just a bunch more ferns, and here a more rocky area. And then behind those fences, there's gonna be just one big forest, I think. So yeah, same goes for this side probably. But this is looking really good. I love the way this makes it look. It's just... However, for today, I then think that is pretty much it, because a lot of this vegetation stuff is just the same thing over and over, and I am gonna do that off screen for the next episode. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell not to miss a single future video, and then I hope I'll see you in the next episode of Planet Coaster 2.